Hello world, it's Kurtis Potter with Boundless Inspiration. Today I wanted to talk to you about a topic that I know oh too well, something that really defeated me for a lot of my life, and I still struggle to pick it back up. And it's also something that I've noticed that a lot of people deal with, and that's doubt, right? And I had to get through that. And one thing that I realized is like a Muhammad Ali saying. He says the only thing that can push out darkness is light. And the only thing that can push out hate is love. So I realized the only thing that can push out doubt is belief. You know, and when you're in the midst of struggles and hard times and having that doubt that just seems to snowball, you're like, well, how do I find that belief? So I realized I have 2 kids, right? And I don't know why as adults we do this thing where we take the kids and we grab their arms and we spin them around, right? We think it's funny. You get to watch them be all dizzy and everything. Well, the thing is my son, when I did that to him, he absolutely loved it, right? I mean, it was like when he got done, even he would still be going like this and he'd be like, Daddy, do me again, Daddy, do me again. He must have got it from my wife. Because see, when I was a child, I loved roller coasters. I loved going to carnivals, but the one rides that I could not do was the ones that spun me around. I'm serious. Every single time I rode one of those, I would puke. I'd either puke on the person next to me, I'd puke on myself. One time I puked over the side of one that was spinning and I puked on some people. I mean, my mom can tell you plenty of funny stories where that motion sickness and spinning did not turn out good for me, right? So then for some reason I decided, hey, this is going to be funny. I'm going to spin my kids. Well, now I have 2. And everything my son does, my daughter has to do. So Zion, because he loves it, he's like, Daddy, spin me. Almost daily. Like, all right, son, it's hard to say no to your kids, especially if it's something innocent like that. Like, it's a little bit easier to say no to candy or time on TV or the tablet or so forth. But spinning, that's harmless. Okay, I'll spin you, son. Instantly, my daughter's like, Daddy, spin me. Daddy, spin me. I'm like, all right, you're done. By then, my son's, my turn again, Dad, my turn again. All right, son. I'm going to spin you. And Cypress, he got another turn. I get another. All right, Cypress. All right. Well, next thing you know, I can't even see straight, right? Like I'm wobbly. And they just want more and more. But the thing is I'm spinning them to a point where I can't even almost stand. Now I'm worried about their safety. Like, hey, I might actually let go of them and they go flying. Not really, I wouldn't let myself get to that, but then, I can't see straight and I'm feeling like I'm about to puke. Like, man, something that started off so funny and now I'm about to puke, right? Well, that's how doubt works. See, it starts off with a dream, a thought in your mind like, I can do this. And see, that spinning, maybe just telling the wrong person. And that wrong person may have that love like my son where they like to spin. They like to have that blurred vision. It don't make them puke, but instead it gives them excitement. And maybe by them telling you that you can't do it, it makes them feel better that they didn't do the things that they doubted themselves out of doing. Right? And then you know what? You're like, all right, well, I still believe in myself, so I'm going to go tell someone else. For me, it was like I just wanted my parents to believe in me. I just wanted my friends to believe in me. To when I got down low, when I got dizzy, when I couldn't see straight, they'd be like, hey, Kurtis, you can do this. See, I've changed the circle of friends that I'm around. And I only allow authentic friendships in my life now. Now, don't get me wrong. they can and they do almost all the time be like, Kurtis, dude, I've known you for a long time. You're an achiever. You're a believer. You're a great person. Dude, you're a leader. You're an inspirer. You're a mentor. Dude, keep going down the path, and one day you're going to get your breakthrough. And then all those people that doubted you, that's when they're going to be like, oh, I believed you. I always believed in you, Kurtis. Like, man, come on. Right? You gotta change those people that, and again, don't get me wrong, they do lift me up, but there's also those times where those are the people in my life where they're like, hey man, Kurtis, have you thought about this? Maybe you're doing this. Have you taken ownership in this? Have you looked yourself in the mirror? One of them even says, hey man, you told me to keep you in check when you go to that blame game, right? So where are you to blame in this? I'm like, you're right, man. See, that's the beauty about authentic relationships. And when you can look yourself in the mirror to see if you've been the one causing that spinning. Because even last night I was talking to my buddy and I said, man, that's what I love about our relationship, because he kept me in check on something. And he goes, man, I hope you don't get mad by me saying this. And I said, Nick, I'm not that type of person. I want that constructive criticism. I want you all to put on these comment sections something that you may disagree with or whatnot, so that way we can talk through this. That's the best thing about maturity and growing up to be an adult and being able to communicate is you could talk through situations. You know what? I've had people like, I don't want to fight. And I was like, I wasn't even fighting you. I was just having a mature, authentic, communicative conversation, but you're taking it as an attack because you couldn't look yourself in the mirror and take ownership that you did something wrong. And I've been there before in my life. I caused that spinning. I caused that dizziness in my vision. I've caused that time where I puked or I wanted to puke by the decisions I made, by the ownership I wasn't taking, by the doubt that I was putting in my own mind. It's easy to do. It snowballs. Just like when I'm spinning the one kid, then there's another kid, then back to the one kid, and then back to the one kid. And before you know it, I'm out of control. And that's how it happens. See, life happens. You have doubt because of old failures, because of old people telling you couldn't, you shouldn't, they wouldn't, right? And then life may smack you in the face and add to it. Like, well, my car just broke down. We had my motor in my vehicle and my wife's motor in her vehicle broke in the same month. Yeah, mine was a work truck, had over 200,000 miles, but hers had just turned over 100. The timing chain broke on both vehicles. Man, I was just a devil. He knew that we was at a low, just mentally, we was getting worn down. We was doing too much. Our relationship was on the rocks. Let's throw in some more curveballs. Life happens. Bam! Cause some more doubt. I'm sure for you, if you're listening to this video, you're going through some stuff. And that's just the devil trying to get you to slow down. That's trying to get the devil to create fear, that false evidence appearing real. Create worry, create doubt. And then you're like, you know what? I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep pushing through this. And then bam, I fail at something. Bam, I fail at this. Bam, I failed at having a really authentic, communicative, non-attacking conversation with my wife. Because you know what happens is you end up taking out some of your pain and your shame and stuff on the one you're closest to. It's the one you see every day. Your friends, your coworkers, your boss, your spouse, your children. And if you have a good heart that's still beating, I'm sure you didn't mean to. And you regret it. So that just adds to the doubt. But you're like, so where does this belief come in? Like my video yesterday, I talked about how you got to remember the times where you were winning. Remember the times when your relationship was at its peak and what you was doing when you was firing on all cylinders. Remember when that job was amazing, like when you first started. What was you doing? You was showing up to work early. You was giving more. They say that if you give more than you're paid for, eventually one day you'll get paid more than for what you do. And I'm sure that's how you was at the start of your job. So even if you're not ready to switch jobs, go back to when you was giving it your all. Belief. Remember that belief you had when you were doing amazing things, when you're firing all cylinders, when you were achieving. Remember that that's something that you have inside you and you've done before. Sorry, I had to wipe my nose. See, the thing is when we go through losses and when we go through hard times, it can create this unbelief. It can create this doubt. But the thing is, you almost have to get comfortable with those times because you know those setbacks set you up for a comeback. See, those losses are actually for a gain. You may have lost somebody in your life, but if you choose to look at those lessons from it, it will turn into a blessing. And next thing you know, how many times people went through a divorce and then they found the love of their life? A lot of times it starts off in a failed relationship where you're pointing the finger, them. This is what they did. This is why I'm choosing to walk out of this relationship because of them. But, then you get to a part where, how many people have you seen, they were like, oh, yeah, I'll teach them. I'll become the best version of myself now. See, the thing is the reason is because you went from a stage of blaming to how do I become the best version of myself again? It comes from a lot of that guilt and the shame and really that self-reflection, that man in the mirror moment where, I've seen people that never worked out in their whole relationship they're in, but as soon as they break up, bam, next thing you know, they're at the gym, eating healthy, getting in shape. I'm going to look good for the next person, right? To get them to, people want me. Man, I got some stuff that I need to work on here. So I'm going to start reading books, going to seminars, all this stuff. Become the best version of myself mentally for the next person. Man, imagine if you and your spouse said, you know what, from this moment, we're going to become the best versions of ourselves for our spouse, for our husband, for our wife, for our children. I'm going to believe that I can do it, knowing that if I'm going to go into a next relationship, a next job, a next career, a next whatever it is, I'm going to give my all. You know what? Screw that. Today, I'm going to give my all. Today, I'm going to believe that I have it in me just like I would a month, 2 months, 6 months from now, going into the next. I believe that I can do it right now. You have to get comfortable in those most painful moments because in all reality, there's some of the most purposeful moments in your life. Those hard times, those failed relationships, those times when you're broke, those times when 2 motors blew up in the same month and we're like, how are we going to do this? And then you know what? You're not dead. It all worked out. You found out who your real friends were. You found out who the real people was in your corner. That was a blessing. Not a burden. It happened for you, not to you. They're helping to build you up, build those shoulders, create those lessons that are going to catapult you in your life if you choose to. If you believe that it was for the better, for the gain, it was for you. And today I'm telling you, I'm here to just tell you that, you know what, I've been through some of the hardest of hardest times, lowest of lows. The biggest guilt, the biggest shame, drugs, alcohol, pornography. I got molested. I've done this dumbest crap. There's times when I was so angry that I would go into bars with buddies and they would just know, Kurtis, are you trying to fight somebody tonight? Like not my circle, but like I'll be challenging the biggest dude in the bar because I knew like his ego, like, you know what, come on, let's do this. I just wanted to fight somebody because I was so angry. I've been through times of bitterness and jealousness, resentment, guilt, shame, anger, lust. Did things for the wrong reasons. I've been there, done that. Used almost any kind of drug other than really like crack cocaine and put a needle in my arm. I've tried it all. I've done it all. And I've got past it. Man, I've been sober for months and months, and it just is an amazing feeling. I've been down this journey. Actually, it was my birthday of last year, September 18th of 2019. No, 2020, I'm sorry, gosh. That was the first birthday I'd had in over 15 years where I decided, you know what, this is for me. I'm going to be sober on my birthday. I realized I had went over 15 birthdays of being drunk or high on marijuana, at least every single birthday for 15 years. Like, it had to be a party. And you know what? When I went down that path of realizing that I was just using all this crap to cope and not deal with the man in the mirror, like put on blinders, right? Because I had so much doubt, so much shame. But you know what? Like, all it took was that first step. And I'm just encouraging you, and I'm challenging you, take that first step of belief. Remind yourself of what you've achieved before and know that you can do it. It's going to be hard because, see, you know what? Sometimes new is hard and it feels uncomfortable. You may not even like it. I remember when I used to get a new phone, it was so new and I'd have to spend like a whole day trying to learn it. And as much as I was excited about getting a new phone, subconsciously, I'm like, man, I don't want to go through learning it because it's new, right? Well, my son just broke my phone. I got the new iPhone 13. And I remember at the store thinking, man, I'm going to have to spend a whole day learning this new phone, right? And this is crazy. This is why I love technology too. They hooked up my old phone to my new phone. Said, hey, just take, 10, 15 minutes. We'll get everything uploaded. And I'm thinking, because they got to where they could upload pictures and your contact list, right? So they're like, all right, it's all done. I go to walk out of the store. I get in the truck. I look at my phone and it's got all the same apps that I had downloaded on my other phone. The same notes, the same apps, contacts, pictures, even text messages. Every single person I had in my text message log, it was on there, all the text messages. It was kind of scary, not going to lie. But at the same time, I was like, dude, I don't even really have to relearn this phone. And that's amazing. So see, I no longer have that doubt and that fear of the newness of the phone. I'm like, dude, that made it smooth. Right on, Apple. Good job. Sometimes you go through life and that new, it's scary. It's uncomfortable. Trying something new. Being intentional about now allowing the same people in your lives that are chirping and giving you this doubt and this fear. Sometimes you gotta, sorry, dude, stiff arm, get away from me. And I'm coming from a place to be humble enough to say too that I had friends that had to do that to me at some point in life. They're like, Kurtis, you're too much. You're distracting me. You're bringing me down by your negativity or your toxicness, or like even, when I was going through a divorce, when my wife was threatening divorce, I was threatening divorce. The first 5 years of your marriage, it's they say it's your hardest, and I can testify, especially when you throw in being multiple business owners. My wife running one business, I'm running the other, 2 toddlers under 5. It was just like, man, it was a lot, throwing in all these curveballs in life. The devil's trying to steal, kill, and destroy. And sometimes, even when you're focused, I was putting in 100-hour weeks, I realized the devil was in her head, telling her, you could do better. You could find a guy that already has a successful business. You could find a guy that doesn't have anger issues or pornography issues. See, I had told my wife about all this, and we were working through it. And I didn't want that in my life anymore, and I had to explain to her that it was a trait that was taught to me when I was like 7 years old. And see, when it's acceptable in your family, you think it's okay, and you don't address it for the longest of times. See, my stepmom had told me, hey, you know what? When I was 7 and my brother had stacks of pornos in our bedroom, We had bunk beds. He shared. You know what she said? Well, I'd rather you masturbate to porno than go get a girl pregnant. So in my head, I took that into my 20s and even to my lower part of my 30s, where I was like, hey, I'd rather do this than go out and cheat on whoever I'm with. Right? What? Like, no, that was the wrong mental process. And I was a product of my environment. And when my wife didn't have that same teaching and growing up and that same sin, that same flaw, it was hard on her. And she didn't understand it. She wanted to walk out on our marriage. She had that doubt. And sometimes you got to dose. I went to a Sex Addicts Anonymous class and said, hey, look, I gave her this app that was on my phone where she could see everything that was on my phone. Like, look, this is something that I'm ready to defeat because I realize it's not serving me and it's actually hindering our marriage. And you know what? Like I had to block out that doubt that I needed that in my life with the belief that my wife is everything that I need in life. And I want an amazing life. I want an amazing relationship. So I'm going to look myself in the mirror and say, what am I doing? Just like my buddy said, Kurtis, what are you doing that's causing this doubt and unbelief in your life, in your relationship, in your marriage, in your parenting, in how you run your business, in your finances, in anything that you're doing? What am I causing that's building that unbelief, and where do I need to start believing? You know what? I had to start with, hey, if I communicate with my wife about my sexual desires, I have that belief, and if I build that trust in her, that she's going to be everything I need in tenfold. If I stop that unbelief and where I messed up my finances or where I made those bad decisions financially or where I hurt those relationships, mentally, or the jobs that I messed up, have that belief again to say, you know what, it's all right. We're human. We make mistakes. It's okay. Give yourself some mercy, some grace, and get back comfortable knowing that it happened for a reason. See, that was a trait, for instance, like the pornography that was passed down to me, that family curse. But I have that belief that I was the one that God brought into this earth to stop that family curse in its tracks and not pass it down to my children. See, this is generational, and it's hard, but these shoulders are tough. And God gave them to me in these lessons to help people like you watching this video. My children, my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren. This is generational, folks. And what you have inside you is too. I believe in you. And I know that because I've been at the lowest of lows, and I'm going up. One day I'm going to be in the clouds. That's actually why I have these on my arms. Because I know one day I'm going to be in the clouds celebrating with God, saying, you know what? And all I can hope is he says, congratulations, my faithful servant. You went through some stuff, but you came through it. You got your breakthrough because you wouldn't quit. And you not only did that, but you helped others get through it as well. That's what I wanted out of you. I knew you was going to go through some stuff. I knew you was going to go through some trials. I knew you was going to go through some unbelief. And you turned it around. You wouldn't stop. You refused to quit. You kept chasing your dreams, your goals, your calling, your greatness. You're boundless. The devil's going to put things on you that are going to bind you and hold you back and get you to worry and fear and regret and shame and guilt and all that. Try to give you anxiety, and the pharmaceutical companies are like, here, let's take some antidepressants, some pain pills, here you go, throw them down your mouth like Pac-Man. That's what I was doing with Vicodin when I broke my back. And man, that was just added to the snowball of everything life's throwing at you, and before you know it, you're spinning where you can't even see straight. But I'm here to tell you, you know what? Sometimes I just had to tell my kids, all right, enough. Like, You guys can't even dang near walk straight. My daughter, she's 1.5, so she might even be on the ground like, Dad, I'm dizzy. I don't understand, but Bubby's doing it again, so I'm going to too, man. She'll follow him to the end of the earth. Enough, kids. Daddy can't see straight, and he's about to puke, and he's mature enough to know that eventually it's coming, just like those carnival rides. If I keep doing this, I am going to puke. I think one of the times I almost borderline was about to. Sometimes you just got to say enough is enough. Enough spinning. Enough allowing what others say dictate my belief. I'm going to go back to those friends who say, man, I knew you when you were firing on all cylinders. I've been with you at your lowest of lows and your highest of highs, and right now you're doubting yourself. But hey, remember when you was up here? When you were killing it, right? Remind yourself, the only thing that can push out darkness is light. So bring the light into your eyes and remind yourself of when you had the most belief and pick it back up. Remind yourself what you was doing. Remind yourself who you was around, the things that you were doing, achieving, believing in. Believe in yourself. You've got this. No matter where you're at, pick yourself up. Even if your back's on the ground, that's beautiful, because the only thing you're doing when your back's on the ground is looking up. It's up from here. If you're at your lowest of lows, then you can't get any more low. You got to go up from here. Take a step forward, even if it's baby steps, even if it's just the tiniest of a baby step today. Just like when my kids were a baby, they first started walking. I mean, it was like day one they started to walk. The second day they could. They're across the room, and then it wasn't no time at all. I'm like, where is Zion? He's halfway up the stairs. Oh my, like what? It doesn't take long, folks, if you continue taking steps forward. Next thing you know, a friend of mine just posted she ran 9 miles the other day. It took her an hour and 30 minutes. I'm like, 9 miles? It didn't start with her running 9 miles. It started with her probably running a half a mile or a mile. It all starts with the step. It all starts with the decision. It all starts with just looking yourself in the mirror and saying, I'm going to control what I can control, and I'm going to give the rest to God. I have the serenity prayer tattooed on my chest. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Have that same courage to change anything you can and bring that belief back into your mind. I hope this helped you all. If it did, please like, share, comment, tag somebody if you want. Send it in their DM if you don't want to tag them, or a text message. Give me a comment of when you had some doubt in your life and you turned it into belief. Come on, let me know when a time that you just kept fighting for that belief and you got your breakthrough. That's how everyone else is going to see this, is by the comments. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Kurtis Potter Jr., Kurtis with a K, on YouTube. Follow my Boundless Inspiration on Facebook, and I think it's Kurtis Potter Jr. also on Instagram. Because every single day, we're just getting a step closer to being boundless. I love you all. Have a great day.